and welcome back to the most amazing channel on the internet. I'm your host Rebecca Felgate, and today we're talking about the top 10 scary tombstone messages part 3. Now, we made part 1 in October 2017, which got nearly 1.5 million views. Watching that video back, I'm a bit shocked. I've lost over 20 pounds since then, and it's like watching another life through a window, but there we go. So now we are making a part 3 for you guys because you seem to enjoy part 1 and 2. You let me know at the end of this video if you want a part 4. Also, I want to ask you guys just the fun, morbid question of what would you like on your gravestone? Hurrah! Would you have like a joke, a statue, a scary message? Do you want to creep people out? I think I would like a joke, but honestly I hope to never have a gravestone. I'd prefer to have my ashes scattered at sea. Great jolly chat we're having here, but you know what? Why not? While you're down there in the comment section, why don't you leave a thumbs up on this video and also share it with a friend. If you haven't yet clicked that notification bell, I would do so right now. Also, please do check out the links to our most amazing Instagrams in the description box and stick around to the end of the video where I'll be reading out some comments from a previous video. Okay, coming in at number 10, we have the planes that they died in. Okay, this gives me the serious creeps. In a graveyard deep in the woods surrounding the Amari Air Base, you will find a pilot's graveyard where the bodies of Soviet-era airmen who died are buried with the tail fin of the planes that they crashed in. It's really sad, honestly. The tail of the plane that they crashed in is their tombstone. The effect of the fins is that the graveyard kind of looks like it's filled with ground sharks. It's truly haunting and very real when you realize that these are the actual wreckages and they're marking the graves of the dead. It becomes horrifyingly imaginable. Coming in at number 9, we have the Circle of Life. The Circle of Life is a beautiful thing. As we know from the first law of thermodynamics, energy can't be created or destroyed, just transferred. When we die, the energy we had in our bodies is transferred into the soil. We're worm food. The worms are then of course eaten by birds and so on and so forth. It's the circle of life. While this is a lovely notion, the gravestone makes the circle of life sound rather literal and terrifying. Having passed in 1728 at the age of 42, what does JSD get on his gravestone? Oh, here lies Scott, left here to rot. Very literal. Coming in at number 8, we have the mistake. Trial by mob is never ideal, especially when that trial gets you killed. It seems that George Johnson was murdered by locals who only realized the error of their ways when it was too late. The Boot Hill Cemetery in Arizona is famous for being the final resting place for a number of Wild West characters, including the McLaury brothers and Billy Clayton. But this point on this list is all about George. George bought a stolen horse without realizing that it was stolen. He was then sentenced to death despite him being totally innocent. His handmade tomb message reads, "Here lies George Johnson hanged by mistake in 1882. He was right, we were wrong, but we strung him up and now he's gone." Descriptive. Spooky. Scary or kind of funny, you decide. We have the beard at number 7. So I mean, persecution is never funny, like absolute hardline no to persecution, but persecuted for wearing a beard. With that information presented along with this lovely stone carving, I have to say I was strangely darkly amused, or I guess the right word is bemused. Poor Joseph Palmer loved his beard even though it was not in fashion in his lifetime in the early 1800s. It seems his local preacher even accused him of consorting with the devil because of his facial hair. In 1830, Palmer was attacked by a mob outside Fitchburg in Massachusetts. Why? Because he had a beard. They were armed with razors and scissors and they attempted to forcibly shave him. He ended up stabbing 2 of his attackers, lightly if there is such a thing as a light stabbing. He was then jailed and placed in solitary confinement for 15 months. Now his tombstone depicts him with his lovely beard and I'm really happy that he stood up for his facial hair to the very end. Long live the beard. Coming in at number 6, I'm not sure what to name this point other than the pie? What a horrible way to go. Not only did Sir Geoffrey Hudson get a piddly little grave plaque, it is also very descriptive in the creepiest of ways. It seems that Sir Geoffrey had dwarfism, but still made it to the age of 63, which in the 1600s was great, even for those born without a defect. How did Sir Geoffrey go though? Well, his grave says it all. A dwarf presented in a pie to King Charles I. What a way to go. To be fair, the grave doesn't actually make it clear if this is the way he died or if this was the way he was best known. Either way, it is pretty disconcerting. King Charles I, by the way, was said to be wicked and tyrannical. He was bareheaded, so he kind of got what was coming to him. His coffin's in St George's Chapel in Windsor, UK. Coming in at number 5, we have the explosion. I feel like the descriptive gravestones are absolutely the gnarliest. There are a lot of them on this list. Have a listen to the tale of poor Ellen Shannon. Her stone says that she died aged 26 after being fatally burned on the 21st of March 1870 by the explosion of a lamp filled with Danforth's so-called non-explosive burning fluid. I do enjoy that the gravestone makes it clear the brand at fault and calls them out for their false advertising. This is like the sassy TripAdvisor or Twitter comment of the olden days. Although, to be totally fair, the poor woman did die, so it makes it pretty sad. If you want to see this spooky grave for yourself, it is in Girard Cemetery in Pennsylvania. Coming in at number 4, we have the Weeping Woman of Michigan. Okay, like first and foremost, this statue is terrifying from the off. A giant stone woman standing with her arms spread. I can certainly live without her. So this is a statue of the Virgin Mary who has been placed in Battle Creek's Oak Hill Cemetery. Legend has it that she cries real tears every Sunday night, and also apparently on Halloween and during a full moon. The under of her eyes are found to be wet on frequent occasions, despite there being no discernible reason. I guess no discernible reason other than she's a spooky statue, and why not? Maybe she's haunted, maybe she's just sad. What scary message is she trying to send? I'm not sure I want to know. We have this killer at number 3, we have Robert Clay Allison. Now it seems that Robert Clay Allison died aged 47 in 1887. Was probably actually pretty young back then. Perhaps it was someone seeking revenge, as it seems that good old Rob was a bit of a social justice warrior, and that's to put it politely. To put it less politely, he was likely a murderer. His grave reads, "He never killed a man that didn't need killing." Either way, who died and made Robert chief of executions? Maybe it was someone that he killed. The swine. Coming in at number 2, we have What They Know. What happens after we die? Well, there isn't really anyone alive who can definitely answer that question. The only people that know are the billions of people who have died over the course of history, also including the owner of this gravestone. Simple yet effective, it reads, "Now I know something that you don't." Ooh, well they very well just might, or they might not, depending on what actually happens. I like the mysticism though. If you were anywhere near as disgruntled as Mary C. Dolency, then you may have left some terse words on your gravestone to your neighbours too. Finally coming into number 1, we have the curse. Ooh dear, Mary was a bit of a crazy cat lady stereotype. She hated her neighbours, she would shine lights in their faces and start feuds, and yes, she had a lot of pets, although she did leave all of her money to the Massachusetts Society for the Prevention of Animal Cruelty. So actually, that really was pretty nice of her. Good on ya. But sadly, she did also leave something not so nice behind, a curse to her community. Hooray! On her tombstone is written, "May eternal damnation be upon those in Whalingport who without knowing me have maliciously vilified me. May the curse of God be upon them and theirs." I'm sorry, what? Do you want to chill out? May the curse of God be upon them. Ooh. It seems though that her tombstone is all talk. Locals say they don't believe they're cursed, which is good news. So guys, that was the top 10 scary tombstone messages part 3. I do have a little bonus one for you. Now I'm almost certain it's fake, but it made me laugh, so I wanted to share it with you. Check this out. It reads, "Died from not forwarding that text message to 10 people. Ah, they're the facts. Do people still do this? Like, I'm an adult these days, would you believe? So I haven't been on the receiving end of like a chain email threatening death or a chain text. You know, the ones that say if you don't forward it to 73 people under the light of a full moon, then Momo will eat your mum. Like, I haven't seen one of those in a long time, but are they still happening? Let me know. Have any of you not forwarded one and lived to tell the tale? I'm pretty sure that I have. Okay, so this is officially the end of the graves, but before we get out of here, I wanted to read some comments from our part 2, because why not make a trip back to April 2018? Here is what you guys had to say. Adam Ledensky said, "I live in Salem, Massachusetts. Do I believe in ghosts? I've seen them, so yeah, I believe in ghosts." Ooh, tell us more. Dan Abnormal said, "Thumbs up for Rebecca Monster." I honestly can no longer remember what this is a reference to, but 306 of you left the thumbs up, so Rebecca Monster it is. One of you guys answered my question about the mystery body of Eugene who wasn't buried for over 20 years. Now the comment was actually pretty horrifying. Frogs wrote, Eugene was put up on display in the funeral home in the hope that he would be recognized by someone. The funeral home used him as a decoration during Halloween, and teenagers would take him out for rides. He was eventually put to rest because he was losing fingers and just generally starting to fall apart, and I think it was about time for it. Blimey, that is horrifying! Arctic Ridge said the only scary thing here is the host. Thanks very much. Thank you very much. So guys, that concludes that. Please do leave me a comment in the comment section for a chance to be featured in an upcoming video. Also, shout out to Lance Hafeen from Buns. Hooray! Thank you so much for watching this video. Once again, do leave a thumbs up, share it with a friend. I'm your host, Rebecca Felgate, and I'll see you next time. Bye!